Hello, 10A, I hope you're well. I've decided to put a video up. I haven't done this because I don't like looking at myself, especially on a video, but I thought so you can feel like I'm watching all of you, that you can see my face. So I'm sorry. Any feedback is fine. If you'd like to tell me not to put my video on, I'm okay with that. Anyway, hello. Right. We're continuing on in preparation for our description, and as I said to you on Tuesday, we are having the assessment on the 17th, which is, I just look, Friday of next week. Okay, so Friday of next week. So we've got a little bit of time to make sure that we're all prepared. By this time, you will have given me your updated description and your updated research helper as well. So what the next stage is to make sure that we've got a plan. And as you know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we need to make sure that we're going to put our information in the correct order. So we do this in a description to start off with, but when you're going to be doing your essays as you get into level 2 and level 3, and especially when you're at university, you're going to be writing a lot of essays. In order to get your ideas across, it's really important that you do a strong plan. Okay, so we've got all of our information here, which you're going to have, and you can actually take this in with you. What I've decided to do is to get you to do a preemptive plan. So we're going to create a plan, you're going to send it to me so that I can see that your description is going to be in the right way. Now, you will not be able to take your plan into the assessment. Okay, you're going to have to use your imagination or your memory to remember how you've actually planned it. So I'm doing a little bit just to help you get a better score for your description. So as you know, with assessment events, you only get 2 chances. The first chance you can get full marks. The second chance you might only get 55%. Okay, so even if you do the second time, you do an excellent description, you can only get 55%. The other problem is if you need to do the description again, you are going to have to choose a different animal. So we need to try and get it perfect the first time. Okay, so we've got all of our information here. For you guys, because it is about an endangered animal, I have recommended that you also have some information about the actual why the animal is endangered, as well as how we can actually resolve that. So having all of this information to take in for you to write your description. As you know, the description needs to be 150 words. So what we're doing is putting this information into maybe 2, maybe 3 paragraphs, including I'm going to get you to do an introduction and a conclusion. So let's have a look at an example that they've actually given us. So one of the most spectacular, I'll stop there. Can everyone please grab your book out? Make sure you've got Unit 5 Living Things for 002. If the teacher could just pause the video for a minute so that everyone can get their books out, and you're going to be opening up to page 111. Okay, hopefully that's enough time. Now, as you know, you've got a GAC teacher watching you. You've also got me watching you from afar. I want to get us to start speaking again. So I know we have read this in a previous class, but I'd like to read it out loud. So I want everybody to read along, try and pronounce the words appropriately. So we're going to read task 5.5, describing an animal. Okay, so we're going to read through all of this together. 3, 2, one of the most spectacular members of the whale family is the humpback, which reaches 15 metres in length with a weight of around 4.5 tonnes. This enormous creature, with its long flippers, round head, solid, strong body, and distinctive black and white around the throat colouring, looks and acts like a giant version of the fish around it in the ocean. However, like other whales, it has something special in common with humans. It is warm-blooded mammal. The humpback, which is 5th largest animal whale species, is a striking and powerful sight, with its flippers sometimes growing to as much as 1/3 of its entire body length. Its diet is specific and relatively small. The humpback feeds on krill, sea animals similar to prawns, and other crustaceans of a similar size. The whale takes these in through its giant mouth, where huge plates filter the mouthful, making sure it doesn't take anything which is too big or too small. In this way, the humpback gets through as much as 8 tons of food a day. There is, however, another interesting aspect to the eating habits of the humpback. It only eats for half of each year. The feeding grounds are located in the waters around Antarctica and during the eating season. The whale stores fat for energy it will need during the non-feeding part of the year. This is when it travels north to breed in warmer waters off Australia, hello Australia, and Fiji, and is often spotted by whale watchers along the Australian coast. After breeding, the humpbacks return south with their young to begin feeding again. Fun fact, where I live, just a half an hour drive, you can actually see whales off on the water, which is really cool. Okay, so this is an example of a description. I think this is actually a bit longer than the description that you're going to do. It gives you a really good example of what we're looking for. So here they've given information about how long it is and how heavy it is. Then they're giving a description of what it actually looks like. Okay, so how big it is. First of all, giving us some specific data and then telling us what it really looks like. What color is it? How big is it? It's got a big head and white and black, etc., etc. Then it tells us the type. So they've said that it's a warm-blooded animal, or mammal rather. Then they're giving us some information about the species, what it eats, and how it eats. And then finally, it tells us what they do. So the movement, the fact that they move from one place to another. So that could be, for instance, it might be an interesting fact that you might have, okay? And they've put this into 3, 2, 3, so 3 paragraphs, getting all of that information, okay. So what you guys are going to be doing is creating not doing this, but you're actually going to put a plan together. And as I said, I'm going to get you to complete this plan today. You need to send it through to me today after class. It shouldn't take you the whole class, or it should only take you this class to complete it and send it to me, because tomorrow I'll give you feedback. And then you've got an opportunity over the weekend to work on that feedback, send me an updated plan. And that means that when you go in to write your description, you'll have exactly, okay, I'm going to talk about this first and this second and this third and so on and so forth. And it means that your description is going to be well organized and you'll definitely get a higher mark for it. Okay, so this plan is really, really important. So let's have a look at what, and I'll send this through to you. You should actually have it in front of you right now. Hopefully the teacher has printed it off. If not, have a look at the teacher. Teacher, can you print this off, please? Okay, so endangered animal description plan. So your name, obviously, please everybody put your name on your work. I've had a nightmare since I've been here trying to work out whose work is whose, and also your animal, so I know what you're talking about. Then all you need to do is work out what you're going to talk about first, second, third. Your introduction, well, just to introduce the animal. For instance, if I'm going to talk about unicorns. Beautiful. I can spell beautiful. Endangered. Unique. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. When I'm doing a plan, I'm not writing again. We don't write full sentences in a plan. I know I've got only 150 words, so I'm going to make sure my introduction and conclusion are quite small, and make sure that my body and my body 1 and body 2 are bigger. So body 1, body 2, that just means the paragraphs that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the type of species that it is, and it is the fantasy species. And it is part of the flying horse genus. Oh, horse. genus. Then I'm going to talk about, let's have a look, description. So long neck, white, etc. Okay, so if you're doing a fox, for instance, you're going to say how big it is, how much it weighs. Then you're going to talk about what it looks like, that it's red and it's got a cute little face or something. So height and weight. And then I'm going to talk about here about endangered and why. I might actually talk about where it's located in this one as well, and include in that endangered. So located in Greece. I've decided that's where unicorns live. Endangered, and how to help them. And conclusion, save the unicorn. Cool. And how to help them is through listening, oh no, not listening, singing, Taylor Swift. Okay. So this is really all that you're doing. However, you're putting your specific details here. If you want to talk first about the species and height and weight, great, just put it into your plan. If you think that this maybe should be in body 2 and this should be in body 1, that's also fine. So what you're doing is getting your data sheet, out and then deciding, okay, I'm going to put this bit into paragraph 1 and then I'm going to put this bit into paragraph 2, okay? And how you're going to introduce them and how you're going to conclude it. Does that make sense? Yes, teacher, yes, teacher. I probably can't hear you. Okay, so you're putting this, your information, so get your data sheet out that I've marked and given back to you, and then you're going to be creating just this bit. So that's all you need to do in this class, and you need to get that sent back to me today so I can give you feedback before the actual presentation. Then what's actually going to happen on the day, on the 17th, is you're going to come into class. You'll have both of the periods to complete the description. The first thing that you'll do is be quiet. The second thing, you'll have your data sheet with you and 2 pieces of paper. So the first piece of paper, I'd like you to rewrite your plan so you've got that ready for you. So what I'm really getting you to do is to have a think about, what do I want my description to look like, to sound like? What should I put first and second and third? How can I actually make that interesting? Then what you will do on the day is you're then going to use that plan and your data sheet to actually write your 150 word description. Minimum 150 words, okay? If you go over to 200 words, that's absolutely fine as well, okay? So let's go down, and I've actually used my plan in magical ways to write a description about my endangered animal, which is the unicorn. So here's my introduction. The unicorn is one of the most unique creatures in the world. Unfortunately, there are not many of them left. So the introduction has done 2 things. Number 1, it's told me what I'm talking about. And number 2, it's told me why I want to read about it. Okay, so it's saying, oh, there's not many left. Oh no, that's terrible. Your audience then wants you to read more. So this is a beginning of, we're going to talk about introductions in level 2 in greater detail. But really the introduction is 2 things. Tells you what we're going to talk about and tells you why the audience actually want to listen to that. We read the next. The unicorn is part of the fantasy species. So you can see there that we've talked about what species or what type they are. In particular, the flying horse class. So if we go back to our books, down to here, remember that we had a look at what type of the classification. So having the classification of the animal is a really good way to start. You go from big, and then we're moving down to little. Okay, they have 4 legs, an elegant neck, and a horn on their head. So I've given the description first, what it looks like. They stand at 4 feet tall and are 6 feet long. So I'm giving some more specific information. They are usually white with a rainbow mane and make a neigh noise like horses. For food, unicorns eat clouds. They collect them when flying and bring them back to the ocean shore to eat. So this is my body 1. It's really giving all of the detail about what they eat, what they look like, And then, as I said, we've only got 150 words, so we've got to decide what information is the most crucial and most important. Sadly, there are only 5 unicorns left in the world. They are located on an island off Greece. So here, I've actually given where they live. Living only 30 years also, so here I've given where they live, but I've also given them how old they live or how many years they live for. It is possible there will soon be no unicorns. Without saying the word endangered, I've actually indicated that this is an endangered species. The only way we can save these endangered animals is to sing Taylor Swift songs as they like to mate to this music. Okay, so we get more baby unicorns because horses, or the unicorns, like Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm sure that you all agree with that. Then finally, I've got my conclusion. An unusual and beautiful creature, it is important that we work hard to ensure the unicorn survives. All right, so we've got 1 sentence for the introduction, 1 sentence for the conclusion. For my first paragraph, this has 74 words in it, and this paragraph has 55 words in it. All right, and in total I've got 177 words, which is absolutely fine. I'm happy with 177. 150, so it's only a few, 17 words over. I can't do math. I don't know if that was right. Don't yell at me. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing for the assessment. So you can see how what I've written here, my plan, I can then write comfortably here. So we're doing a nice preparation for next week. Please make sure that you get this to me today, all right? No excuses, it must come to me today so that I can mark it and give it back to you. Again, I really want to give everybody really high marks, so please make sure that you take time, concentrate. It's not just about getting the work done. My recommendation is that you go back and you actually review the section that we did, I think it was last week, on the description, okay? So from here, the fact sheet about the African elephant through here, okay? So ideas about how you can organise your writing, organising the actual points. Here are some using different ways to actually express your ideas. So we don't want something that says the unicorn this, the unicorn that, the unicorn that. There becomes very tedious and very boring. So you need to work out how can I change the sentence to express my ideas, but make it interesting as well. Obviously, you're going to have to ensure that you've got classification, and that's it. Okay, so having a look at 002, going through pages 1, sorry, someone in my kitchen, pages 112 all the way through to 117. Okay, so review those areas. It'll give you, again, some foundation and background. We've already done this in class, well, most of you have already done it in class, and get that homework to me as soon as possible. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.